and welcome back to the Perfunctionist channel. Last week we looked at the A minor pentatonic scale and the 5 positions and how to learn them. Today we're going to continue that in lesson 2 and talk about how can we practice these and commit them to memory so that they will be there for us when we want to use them when improvising or just navigating the guitar fretboard in general. So back to the 5 scale shapes. How do we practice them? That's the question we're going to look at in this next part of the video. So as I mentioned in the last video, if you've never looked at these scale shapes before, you want to practice them one at a time. You may find yourself learning them pretty quickly and you can move on to the next one sooner, which is great. But if not, then take your time. Just do them one at a time, move on to the next one, and they will eventually fall under your fingers. So first of all, we're going to start playing one shape at a time. So let's start with position 1. Let's take position 1 as an example. And you may remember from the last lesson how I talked about playing the last note of the scale twice as you turn back around again, so you can get a nice rhythmic flow. It's not essential, but it just kind of, the timing might be a little bit easier to handle. But let me show you. We're just going to play up and down the same scale shape. So, literally just up and down. I'm just trying to get that coordination between my right hand and my left hand so that it sounds smooth. So you want to try and make it sound as nice as you can. If that means slowing it down, then slow it down. It's important that you get that kind of smoothness, and that smoothness is going to come from taking the speed down a bit and really working on getting that right hand, left hand coordination smooth. So this is by no means going to impress people just yet. All you're doing is playing through a scale, which essentially is a bit boring. What you can also do is find a backing track, maybe go online, look for a backing track in A minor in the style that you like. There's loads out there, and just improvise over it. So improvisation is a whole nother lesson, although this is actually a big part of it as well, just knowing what notes to play. And you can put the backing track on and just noodle over it. No one's watching, so feel free to make as many mistakes as you need to and play the scale shape, and improvise using that scale shape. I'll give you an example. Here's the loop I created that you heard at the beginning of the video. I'm going to do exactly that, and this is what you want to be doing at home on your own as well. If you have a looper, you can use that as well if you want to. Just play an A minor chord or a bunch of chords in the key of A minor, and you can do this. So let me show you. If you find yourself not able to improvise at this point, play through the scale using along with the backing track, and aim to keep your playing in time with the music. You can also get some rhythmic variation going in your improvisation, or if you're just playing through the scale. So if you're not too hot on improvising just yet, play through the scale, but maybe add a bit of a rhythmic step to it here and there, just to kind of start breaking into that improvising realm, which is very much a rhythmic thing. So if you can get your rhythm sorted, then you'll be going a long way already. I'll show you. So there's some rhythmic playing there. but I also did some phrasing, just kind of forming sentences. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so this isn't an improvisation lesson. We touched on it a little bit there. That's a little bonus for you. Let's try another position. So let's move on to, let's pick one. Let's pick position 3. So I'm going to play through the chord, the scale, and the chord again. I'm going to practice up and down the scale shape, and I'm going to try and jam along with my backing track. So I played it reasonably fast there. You don't have to play it at that speed just yet. Start at whatever speed you're comfortable with and then slowly speed it up, keeping in mind that you want to try and keep the quality of your sound as good as you can from the outset. That way, when you do get really fast and really good at this, the quality of your sound is already really good and it's not something you have to fix at a later time. Right, let's do a little jam on that scale shape. Notice how I ended on the root note. So I've said it earlier, I'll say it again. You can never say it too many times. Know where your root notes are. So on the scale diagram, it's the black notes with the red ring around it. There's one there, 12th fret on the A string, and also B string 10th fret. There's another one. Okay, so let's start linking these scale shapes together. Again, we're going to start slow, we're going to start small and build it up. So we're going to start with 2 adjacent shapes. So we'll start with position 1 into position 2. And this idea you're going to be able to use as you start adding more scale shapes to this. So we already know the scale shapes by now. Let's go from position 1 into position 2. How can we do that? One way we can start playing this is to play up and down position 1 and then up and down position 2. Okay, so I went up position 1, came back down and into position 2. But what I wanted to focus on was that smooth transition between the two. So at first you may be a bit hesitant and not very confident about going into position 2 from position 1. So we're just doing this as a scale at the moment. So we're going to go down position 1, and then from here we're going to go straight into position 2. So it's that transition between the two shapes that you want to try and get under your fingers. I'll show you. I'll go down position 1 into position 2. So notice how the going from position 1 into position 2 was quite smooth. So the rhythm here is very simple. It's just 8th notes. Ba 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 ba. So the rhythm is consistent, and it's going to be consistent as you go into position 2 as well. And that's what we're looking for, that kind of smooth transition from one shape into another. So slow this down as slow as you need to go. You might want to go, go slow as you need to go. If you need to go embarrassingly slow, that's fine. This is what you need to do in order to get it good. So don't be afraid to go really slow, but just keep it in time. For the sake of not making this video too long, I'm not going to go that slow, but you understand what slow means. And you want to be able to keep it smooth and be able to go into that position. And maybe go back again. So let's see if we can do that actually. Let's go up and down position 1, up and down position 2, and then back to position 1 again. You can also jam in these two positions along with the backing track. You may want to start just playing the scale again, just playing what we just played a second ago, but with a backing track. And then once you feel a bit more confident, you can improvise with these two scale shapes. If you can already improvise, then yeah, go for it, have fun. Let me give you an example. So I'll start off playing through the scale shapes with the backing track, and then I will go into an improvisation using those two scale shapes. Okay, so you may notice that rhythmically it sounded a bit weird. So that's where, if you notice that, if you kind of felt that, then it means that you have a sense for improvising, or at least it shows that you have it. It doesn't mean that you don't have it if you didn't feel it, but it just shows that you have some kind of sensibility for rhythm, for phrasing. So let me play that again, but this time I'm going to phrase it a bit more. Still a scale, but I'm going to phrase it a bit more for the feel of the backing track. And this will change depending on which backing track you're using. I'm obviously using the one I've created on my looping pedal. And then I'll go into an improvisation. Right, so you might have noticed at the end there, I was going between the two scale shapes from the top two strings. That's something else you can do. You can do that on pairs of strings as well. There's so many variations, which we may not be able to get into all of them in this one lesson, but you can come up with your own and practice that. You may even learn another song and see transitions in the solo for that song, and that's how you learn it. That's definitely how I've learned some of these scale shapes, from just learning other people's solos. So give that a go. Try that with those two shapes. You can also try that with other two shapes as well, with other two adjacent shapes. Let's quickly try that with position 3 into 4. I'll play through the scales, through both scales. I'll try and do it kind of with a bit more rhythmic sensibility, still playing the scales, and then I'll go into a little jam, a little improvisation. So there we have it. That is how to practice the 5 positions of the A minor pentatonic scale. If you enjoyed that video, if you got some value from it, please consider liking this video and please consider subscribing. We're still a young channel, we're still trying to grow, we're still trying to get the message out there. So please come be part of the community and check us out on social media as well. And I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you in the next video for some more of the same. Take care.